Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Back today to talk about So Late in the Day by Claire Keegan, though I fear that what I'm going to do is less of a review and more just a discussion of the themes of this book, since it is so short that even if you go even a little bit deep into it, you are at risk of just revealing the whole thing. So potentially one for you to read and then come back to this video. It is a short little ditty book, so it shouldn't take any time at all. Just know that I do highly recommend this book. This book was originally published as a short story in the New Yorker, and then it since has been traditionally published in this little tiny hardback. This story takes place over the course of one day in the life of our protagonist, but then has flashbacks to previous events of his life to add a bit more context for that day and the mood that he is in. We follow the main character of Cathal as he goes about his workday, and you can feel right away that for some reason things are not quite right. He seems to be on edge, the people who know him are quite cautious around him, but we do not immediately know why. We then flash back to see his relationship with this half French woman called Sabine, going from their first meeting and first date to their day-to-day life living together, and then to the present day where it is clear that Sabine for whatever reason is not there, and so it is implied that their relationship has somehow deteriorated. I read Foster by Claire Keegan earlier this year, and once again I'm really struck by Claire Keegan's ability to guide a reader through such a short period of time, using so few pages to give a snapshot into a bit of a character's life, and yet in that short amount of time and short amount of pages she is able to convey so much and make you feel like you really know these people. Every word is carefully considered and deliberate. No word is wasted. Not a single moment is wasted in order to convey something about character or to expand on her wider themes. I can almost imagine this being a set text in classrooms, teachers analysing it with students for exactly why each moment and each character is described in the very precise way that they are. And I would say the main theme of this short story is of misogyny within relationships, but it is not these big acts of misogyny that you might think of, such as violence against women and assault, but pernicious little everyday acts and how they can impact on relationships between men and women. And throughout this book this mostly manifests into carelessness and lack of effort, taking your partner for granted and their role in your life. But the book also takes time to explore how this can be a slippery slope into more sinister forms of misogyny and abusive behaviour. In almost every interaction in this book you can see how Cathal has this quiet repulsion and contempt for women taking up space in his life, whether it's a random older woman sitting next to him on public transport and daring to talk to him, to his girlfriend Sabine moving into his flat and him proclaiming that he didn't realise that she would actually be bringing things with her, that she might come with stuff of her own and that might disrupt his stuff. You get this sense that he had this expectation that she would just slot into his life, be there to make things easy for him, but whenever she quote unquote makes it hard for him, i.e. simply existing, he resents her presence. And you wonder, what is his problem and where does this come from? In comparison, from the moment that we meet Sabine, we know that she is somebody who puts an immense amount of effort into everything in her life and especially into her relationships. I've said already that you could use this book as a set text to analyse the language in this book, and I think especially in regards to how Sabine is described. For example, the significance of the fact that when we are first introduced to Sabine on her first date with Cathal, not only is she dressed all in white, not an easy outfit to maintain, I will just say. They're out on a date going to an art exhibit, and Claire Keegan takes time to describe how Sabine had paid for the tickets online. It seems like a simple enough statement, but as I say, Claire Keegan does not waste a word. It goes to show that she actually thought about their date in advance, she pre-planned, put time and effort into making sure that the date went smoothly, that they would have tickets in advance rather than having to wait in line, but also the fact that she is the one who paid for these tickets. It was not a joint effort between herself and Cathal. She was the one who put the effort in, and that carries through to everything she does, from setting up home with him to the ways that she's described trawling around different food markets looking for the perfect ingredients for her recipes, for the many meals that she makes for them. And unfortunately, throughout the course of the book and their relationship, that effort is not acknowledged, let alone appreciated by Cathal. Towards the end of the book she notes that he never has thanked her for a meal that she has made, and it's all very subtly done, and I can see some of these behaviours just not registering for a lot of people, just in the same way that they don't register for him. But then alternatively, it was really interesting to read and watch reviews of this one because of the way that people were describing Cathal as being cruel, as somebody who has never learnt kindness. And it's not that I don't think that's a fair assessment, I just don't actually think it's very accurate, because Cathal is not a raging misogynist letting those colours fly. He wouldn't be out attacking women, he wouldn't be on like far right Reddit threads campaigning to take away women's rights. What he is instead is apathetic and thoughtless. He has simply never thought to care and to make room for other people in his life. He takes for granted that his life should be the way that he's always known it, and that he shouldn't have to be the one to make effort, which is pernicious in itself because relationships are a two-way street. And it's only when we get a flashback to his childhood and we see the ways that his father had treated his mother that this is very much a learned behaviour. Men treating women with contempt, not appreciating the effort that they go through to set up a home and to have a relationship, not appreciating that and being dismissive of it, is something that he has learned and just accepted as normal. And so when we return to the present timeline, where we know that despite the fact that the sun is shining, the birds are singing, you know, the very first lines of the book, on Friday, July 29th, Dublin got the weather that was forecast. All morning, a brazen sun shone across Merrion Square, reaching into Cathal's desk where he was stationed by the open window. Down on the lawn, some people were out sunbathing, and there were children and beds plump with flowers. So much of life carrying smoothly on, despite the tangle of human upsets and the knowledge of how everything must end. We can see how grey and bland his life is without Sabine, but he is barely registering it. All he feels is bitterness. A beautiful day which is tinged with negativity from the first page to the last because of his perspective and his attitude. It is a day which sums up their entire relationship. Something that could have been wonderful if only he'd taken the effort to appreciate it when he had the chance. But unfortunately, this is not a unique story. This is a simple story, one that I think is familiar to a lot of people, but it is one that is well told. I very much enjoyed reading So Late in the Day by Keegan. Please do let me know if you've read this, what you thought about it. I would love to hear from you. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.